She stood near the window, fingers twisting the lace at her wrist, heart racing with all the stories she'd carried into this moment. Outside, the prairie stretched white and silver beneath the moon, the wind brushing the grass the way it brushed her nerves, soft, persistent. He filled the doorway without trying to, broad-shouldered, quiet, a man shaped by wind and work. When their eyes met, he didn't rush her. He set his hat down like a promise and waited. "I'm scared," she whispered. It wasn't weakness that trembled in her voice so much as honesty. She had crossed miles and expectations to stand here, wearing a borrowed dress and a future she was still learning how to hold. She had been called fragile before, sheltered, too careful. Tonight, all of that felt heavier than the trunk she'd dragged into the cabin. He nodded once, as if fear were something he recognized. "So am I," he said, surprising her. His voice was low and steady, but not hard. New things ought to make a person careful. That steadied her more than any grand declaration could have. She watched him move, not closer yet, just enough to rest a hand on the back of a chair, grounding himself. The lamplight caught the dust on his sleeves, the small scars on his knuckles, the signs of a life that had demanded strength and patience in equal measure. He wasn't staring at her the way she'd feared, measuring or claiming. He was looking at her like a person he meant to know. "I don't want to disappoint you," she said, the words escaping before she could stop them. "I don't know how any of this is supposed to be." A corner of his mouth lifted, not a smile so much as reassurance. "There's no right way," he said. "There's just us figuring it out." He gestured to the room, the simple bed, the table with 2 plates laid out, the kettle cooling on the stove. "This isn't a test, it's a beginning," she exhaled, realizing she'd been holding her breath. The night felt quieter then, like the world itself had leaned back to give them space. She took a step, then another, until the distance between them felt human rather than impossible. He noticed, of course he did, but he didn't close the gap for her. He let her choose. "I've been told I'm too much," she said softly, surprising herself again. "Too nervous, too careful, too—" She stopped, embarrassed. He shook his head. "People use too when they don't know how to be gentle," he said. "Careful isn't a flaw, it's how you protect what matters." The warmth in his words reached places she hadn't realized were cold. She met his gaze, steady now. "Then, you'll be patient with me." "As long as it takes," he replied, without hesitation. He offered his hand, palm open, an invitation rather than a demand. "We'll go at your pace." She placed her hand in his, feeling the difference, his calloused fingers, her trembling ones, and found that the fear she'd brought with her didn't vanish. It softened. It made room for something else, trust. And in that small, steady moment, part 1 of their life together truly began.